Hey there, welcome to That Dang Dad. My name is Phil, and tonight I'm going to teach you how not to get scammed. Or maybe less spectacularly, I'm going to teach you how not to buy something you don't actually want. Why am I qualified to speak on this? Well, my business degree has an emphasis in marketing. I've been in marketing and sales support for many years. I've attended hundreds of hours of conferences and professional seminars on how to market to, sell to, and ultimately persuade people. And I was a cop for almost 10 years, so I took a ton of fraud reports. I've been on all sides of this thing. And while my marketing training was almost never, here's how to be unscrupulous, they definitely gave us tools that an unscrupulous person could use to get people to make a purchase they might later regret. The idea for this video came from a recent viral story in The Cut by Charlotte Cowles titled, "The Day I Put $50,000 into a Shoebox and Handed It to a Stranger." People on the internet had a lot of fun laughing at Cowles for believing that an Amazon rep would open up a case with the FTC, who would then summon a CIA agent to secure a shoebox of her cash while they chased down the drug cartel hitmen who had stolen her identity. And while it is admittedly a funny story, because it didn't happen to me, I do want to say up front that anybody can be scammed. You, me, anybody. It doesn't make you a bad or a stupid person if it's happened to you. It's happened to me, it's happened to a lot of people. Scammers just have to get a lucky hit once. So I can't make you immune to all scams, but I can hopefully give you a few tips and tricks that make you less of a target. And to kick this off, I want to give you the big tip. If you remember nothing else from this video, I want you to remember this. Scams rely on controlling your access to information and rushing you into decisions before you have time to think things through. They might use fear or ignorance or greed or embarrassment to do that, but keeping you isolated and moving fast is what makes scams possible. So when you feel somebody rushing you for a decision and preventing you from talking to anyone else, that's your cue to slow it down and run things by people that you trust. A salesperson selling a legitimate product will not be threatened if you say, "Hey, thanks for the info, let me run this by my spouse." Or, "Do you have a card? I want to do some research and I'll hit you back." Someone scamming you will say anything to keep you from talking with others. And likewise, if somebody claiming to be law enforcement doesn't want you to talk about some incident they claim you're involved in, you definitely need to tag in some allies and see if things pass the smell test for them. Hell, buy an hour of time from a local attorney and see what they think. The cop might not even be a scammer, he just might be a cop. We often lied to people who didn't know their rights or the law just because we could. So yeah, move slow, talk to others, and be very, very suspicious if somebody demands you not do those things. Anyway, let's go ahead and dig a little deeper. I'm going to start with a simple one that everyone should know, the Zeigarnik effect. Next time you're at a party, bring this up, it'll make you sound interesting. In short, this is a phenomenon observed by European researchers wherein a task or activity that has been interrupted is recalled more vividly than one that has been completed. For our purposes, this can sometimes manifest as a form of psychological discomfort at leaving a task unfinished. Have you ever been looking for a web-based platform to do something, maybe a logo generator or a dating website or something, and it lets you get like 80% of the way done and then says, "Oh, only paid users can access this function. Please click here to buy a license." This design pattern specifically exists in anticipation that you will experience the Zeigarnik effect and feel extra open to buying maybe a 1-month membership just to finish the little thing you were working on. Now, this is not necessarily evidence of a scam per se. It's perfectly reasonable to let a user get a taste or a sample so that they can decide if they really like your product. Just understand that even in the most ethical of applications, you still may carry inside you a discomfort at leaving a task unfinished, and thus you might make an impulsive decision while navigating that discomfort. Recognizing this phenomenon allows you to hit the pause button and make sure that you're spending money appropriately for you. Enough said. For this next part, I'm going to be drawing from Robert Cialdini's books Persuasion and Influence. Cialdini is a psychology researcher who, for a time, went undercover as a sales trainee at various organizations to learn their methods for influencing people. He then applied an academic lens to those methods to understand how they work. I highly recommend both books, and while I can't tell you every juicy nugget from each, there's a few running themes that I think are important to know. Like I mentioned above, persuasion, sales, and yes, scams all involve a large amount of information control. And a big part of that is controlling the narrative before they ever get to the big ask. That's the whole thrust of persuasion, the things influence experts do before they try to persuade you. In one example from the book, a team was trying to collect email addresses from shoppers at a local mall in order to send them a free sample of a new soda. The control group, who just stopped shoppers and asked for an email, only managed to get one 33% of the time. The experimental group tweaked the approach, instead opening with, "Excuse me, are you an adventurous person?" Most people answered yes, and when the request for an email was made right after that, over 75% of those stopped gave it out. In another experiment, again stopping shoppers, but this time to get them to take a survey, once again the control group didn't have a lot of success. Only 29% of people said yes. But the experimental group, who opened with, "Excuse me, are you a helpful person?" saw 77% of people agree to take the survey. Why is that? Cialdini says that human beings have a natural affinity for appearing consistent with our past commitments. We want to be seen as trustworthy, reliable, or like we have it all together. So when shoppers tell somebody at the mall that they are adventurous or helpful, they become psychologically primed to agree to things that are consistent with those claims, such as trying a new soda or filling out a survey. Salespeople rely on this when they get you agreeing to statements in a store. "Beautiful machine, huh? Is there a particular use you had in mind for it? Do you think it could help with your problem?" It's also known that cult recruiters rely on this tactic, getting you to agree that you struggle with this or that, and oh, wouldn't you know, the group is having a talk on that very topic. This may also be one of the reasons that people stay in abusive relationships. Abusers know how to take your past yeses and turn them into bigger future yeses that only get bigger and bigger and bigger. Cialdini mentions another tactic he learned from a veteran salesperson that touches on this phenomenon. He was doing a ride-along with a very successful door-to-door salesman, and he noticed that every time the guy was invited in to start his pitch, he would forget something in his car a few minutes later and ask if he could run out, grab it, and run back in, which most customers happily agreed to. When Cialdini grilled him about this later, the salesman finally revealed the secret. It was a trick to appear more trustworthy. After all, would you let somebody that you didn't trust just come and go from your house without supervision? Of course not. So by engineering a way to be allowed to leave and re-enter as if he was already a friend, the salesperson was subtly priming the customer to think of him as trustworthy rather than as a stranger. Obviously, the era of door-to-door sales isn't quite as strong as it used to be, but this kind of psychological priming happens all the time, be it with free gifts that make you feel a sense of reciprocity, to compliments, to strategic mistakes that the person can admit to in order to appear as if they have integrity. And again, none of these things are bulletproof evidence of fraud or skullduggery. Maybe somebody is just paying you a sincere compliment. Maybe the salesperson really did forget their pen in their car. The purpose of pointing these out isn't for you to run away screaming if ever somebody asks you if you're adventurous. The point is that these tactics create what Cialdini calls privileged moments, meaning short spans of time where an influencer has a higher likelihood of swaying you in a particular direction. If you recognize that, it just allows you to ride out that moment, get to the other side, and then hopefully make an informed choice based on what's best for you. For example, if it feels like a salesperson is really cranking up the charm, then maybe you're the one who left something in your car who needs to leave and come back, in order to escape his tractor beam. Or if it's a phone call, maybe you have to go sign for a package and you'll call right back. That little gap away from the influencer gives you a minute to catch your breath and think through the situation outside of their orbit. It gives you a chance to Google claims that they've made or double check their company's ratings online. And if the influencer seems reluctant to let you have that moment alone, that should become a huge red flag and a sign to bail ASAP. Now, this next tip may sting a little if you're somebody who's been scammed before, and if so, I apologize. I don't want this to sound like victim blaming, but we do have to contend with the fact that many scammers know how to exploit people's greed. Or if not their greed, their desire to make easy money. Sure, a lot of tech bros have been scammed by crypto and NFTs, but plenty of normal broke people get scammed every day because poverty is a sucking hell pit that feels impossible to get out of. Why wouldn't you try to get free when given the chance? But here's the painful truth. No one is out there just waiting to give you free money unsolicited. If a stranger comes up to you with a multi-step mechanism to make some easy money, they're working an angle and you're the mark. Here's the classic old school scam from my cop days. I worked in an area with a lot of undocumented residents who were always having to get around the challenges that brings. Some nice old lady would be at the store when a guy would approach her with this terrible dilemma. You see, he has a winning lottery ticket, but dang it, he's undocumented and he can't claim the prize money. So here's the deal he's graciously willing to make. The winning ticket is worth $5,000, but if you can get him $500, he'll give you the ticket because he just needs some cash. He even called this number for the lottery commission to set it all up, and they can answer any questions. That's an easy $4,500. What do you say, ma'am? Now, very clever viewers may have already guessed the scam here. Would it shock you to learn that the lottery ticket is in fact not real? And neither was the phone number for the lottery commission. I know! Pause the video now if you need to pick your jaw up off the floor. And sure, we can laugh at the nice old lady for falling for the obvious scam, but I don't know. Where I worked, people actually did stuff like that for each other. People helped their undocumented neighbors get by in an unfriendly country. It's not such an impossible scenario to imagine this lottery situation actually happening. This kind of scam takes many forms, perhaps most famously is the Spanish prisoner or Nigerian prince scam, in which somebody claiming to be a wealthy VIP needs to borrow your bank account to flee the country, and who will definitely deposit $1 million in your account as thanks for your loyalty. I would also classify pyramid scams or NFTs in this category of scams that promise you lots of extra money in exchange for a small initial investment. And look around you. Look at what capitalism has done to your neighborhood and the planet. All around you, capitalists are stealing, hoarding, enclosing, extracting, and rent-seeking. Ain't nobody out there desperately searching for some nobody to enrich. If an offer sounds too good to be true, it is. If somebody contacts you out of the blue, offering you a lot of money, that's a great cue for you to say, great, let me run that by my accountant, and get their take. A legitimate investment opportunity will be more than happy for you to take your time and talk to your people. A scammer won't. For our final tip, let's return to Charlotte Cowles and her shoebox full of cash. A lot of people are calling her stupid for falling for this scam, but I think there's a much more relevant condition at play here. Fear. The scammers made Cowles afraid for her safety and the safety of her toddler. As the father of a small child, I 100% get that. If I thought my daughter was in danger, I'd be making some very wild swings myself. Many scams, and indeed many non-scam sales pitches, rely on fear short-circuiting your reasoning abilities. This can be benign, like using false scarcity to make you afraid of missing out on a discount, more or less reasonable, such as using the fear of illness to get you to buy travel insurance, or it can be what happened to Cowles. The big scam nowadays is spoofing someone's number or using AI text-to-voice to impersonate someone's grandkid and pretending they've been imprisoned or kidnapped and they need bail or ransom money. You and I sitting here in the comfort of our safe homes think, duh, how obvious. But think about an older person, bad with technology, and hearing from their little Susie all grown up that she's in a desperate situation. Those of us with kids understand. Logic takes a back seat when someone you love is in trouble. Once again, fear-based scams or sales pitches want to control the information space, and they want you making quick decisions isolated from your people. So, once again, the best thing you can do is slow things down, get distance, and tell someone. In the case of the bail scam, you say, wow, thanks for letting me know. I'm going to go find my wallet, and then I'm going to call the jail directly and get this all taken care of. A real jail won't care about that, but scammers will. When in doubt, always hang up and try to find a business number that didn't come from the person who contacted you. Especially if they're claiming to be a bank or a government organization, you should be able to find a verifiably real number online and double check their information that way. Similarly, try to find a separate way to contact the supposed kidnapping victim. If their phone has been spoofed, you might try contacting a friend or a spouse or hitting them up on their work email or whatever. Just taking an extra 5 minutes to take back control of the information space can often break whatever spell the scammers were trying to weave. And here's where I want to say that writing this script is a little tricky because I'm torn between wanting to tell you all these specific weird techniques and scams and manipulations, but also knowing that every day someone invents a new scam, a new technology, a new lie, and I can't possibly record them all. So I find myself coming back to more generalized tips, like slow it down, talk to others, double check information by independently verifying business phone numbers and emails. And sure, if you want a big pile of specific tips, it's important to remember. Don't click random links or open random files emailed to you. If a friend sends you a weird link out of the blue, hit them up on another platform before you click it. Don't scan random QR codes out in the wild. If you find a USB drive discarded somewhere, do not put that in your computer. Your Russian girlfriend who needs $400 for a plane ticket is not real. The first couple messages you get on adult hookup sites are from bots tricking you into paying for premium. No, the IRS doesn't have a case open against you, unless they do. No, you don't have a warrant in another state, unless you do. But either way, no legitimate entity will ever instruct you to buy gift cards to pay off a debt. Likewise, the CEO of your company will never email you instructing you to buy gift cards. Notify your boss immediately. Anyone trying to get you to pay for something via gift cards, crypto, wire transfers, or money orders should be met with maximum suspicion. No, you don't have an Amazon package waiting for you to click a link that was texted to you. No, this cryptocurrency isn't the next big thing. No, Amazon and the FTC and the CIA are not jointly working on identity theft cases that hinge on your cooperation. No, hackers didn't use your webcam to film you honking off in your room. No, this dream job that suddenly appeared on LinkedIn that requires you to pay a bunch of money up front isn't real. But by the time this video airs, someone will have come up with some new thing that I can't even conceive of. So all you can do is try to develop a little healthy paranoia and a little healthy stubbornness. Many scammers rely on your aversion to appearing rude to keep you under their spell and moving at their pace. Most of us have an innate pro-social instinct to at least be cordial with a neutral stranger, saying hello or goodbye or excuse me, following standard social norms, so on. But if you see some red flags out there, don't be afraid to violate decorum a little. Hang up or don't answer, or make them call back. And if you're still feeling them out, ask detailed questions, ask for proof. Tell them it feels like a scam and see what they say. Withhold information or play dumb and ask lots of follow-up questions. You can be a pain in the ass without being mean. Beyond that, the best strategy is just to check everything, verify everything, take extra time, be extra annoying, and above all, talk to other people. The faster a stranger wants you to move, the heavier you should become. The more they want to isolate you, the sooner you should be tagging in friends and family. If someone wants you moving quickly and without backup, that person is not putting your best interests first, regardless of their goals. Slow down and link up. Anyway, I think that about covers it. What about you? Have you ever been scammed? I'll tell you one of mine. Back in my conservative days, a guy came to the door claiming he was selling magazine subscriptions. When I declined, he asked if I wanted to buy a subscription for the troops. I was all swollen with patriotic pride, so I said sure, and I cut a check for $50 for 2 or 3 subscriptions, and I sent the lad on his way. Then about 5 seconds later, I realized he hadn't actually filled out any forms regarding my donation. I realized I had just handed a guy $50 for the troops with no paperwork, no receipt, no way to follow up, nothing. So I paid $25 to cancel that check, and now I don't answer my door ever. If you don't have a story of your own, do you have any safety tips? If you work in InfoSec or other related fields, drop some knowledge. Anyway, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope this was valuable for you. If it was, be sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and share this video with somebody that you think could use it. I tried to keep it clean for Meemaw and Peepaw especially. Anyway, I really appreciate your time and I hope to see you on the next one. Have a good night.